Oh, great. So let me add Nkechi on this. Okay. Hi, NK.
Hi, me. Good morning.
I can hear you. Good morning. First and
Okay.
foremost, this is horrible. Like what happened this morning has never happened before. Like I'm so
Wow.
surprised. I'm like I don't know what's going on, but hey, we fix it after the session. So I'm super happy that we even have a
Okay.
platform we can come back to, to actually level this
No
out.
problem.
And thank you for joining us. Thank you for being patient. And I'll just do a
You're
quick
welcome.
introduction. I'll just do a quick introduction before you get started. So for
Okay.
those that are joining us, on a monthly basis, we have a themed session whereby we actually speak to people. It can cut across different sectors, from mental health to physical health and well-being to spiritual health to things like this business to real estate and so on and so forth. So this is what we've been doing since May of 2020 during the quarantine period. All right. So, and I'm super looking forward to this particular thing because I approach each thing from a perspective of when I was in this particular spot in my life and I needed this help. Did I have anyone to turn to? Did I have any platform that could teach me or could give me that information? And I see that it's actually not priority for quite a number of people. The information is not out there. Hence why we are doing what we're doing right now. And I know that a lot of people want to start businesses. A lot of people that I know that are just confused as to, okay, so I have this idea. So how do I take this idea from just being a mere idea to executing this idea? So, and that's why obviously the business builder is here to put us through and ensure that we're on the right track in creating sustainable business structures over a period of time. All right, let me stop chapping and chatting. Okay, let Nkechi start off the session by telling us who she is, and we'll take it up from there.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me, Kendi. It's amazing. I've watched a couple of the sessions, from last year, and I've seen how informative and impactful they've been. So well done. I think it's an amazing platform because information is key. If you don't have information, you really can't build, you can't thrive as a person, whatever aspect of life you currently are on. So yes, my name is Nkechi Alade. I'm a business builder. I'm a principal consultant at Elvarida. Elvarida is a business consulting firm which was set up to help individuals and business organizations to either start new businesses, grow existing businesses, improve their businesses, or differentiate their businesses in the market. Now, reason why we started this business was really because I personally realized that a lot of people have struggled or are struggling with good ideas. So a good idea is not enough. Let me put it that way. So our own why is, trying to bridge the gap between a good idea and its execution. You can have an amazing idea. Fantastic, congratulations. But then what next? What are the next things you need to do? You can be so excited about it that you're not even going to be able to do anything about it. If you don't have the right people along the line with you, you're not going to be able to, build it up. Excitement lasts for a while. You can't build a business based on how excited you feel right now because excitement might just last you a couple of months, a couple of years. Okay, what happens when the clients are not coming as you expected? What happens when the staff leave you? What happens when profit is not rolling in? What happens next? So there has to be something else that's driving you, not just your excitement. Passion is fantastic, but passion gets frustrating when there's no profit. I'll be honest with you. So I think that those are some of the reasons why we put this together, because it's, your good idea is not enough. You need structure, you need strategy, you need to understand the market, you need to know how, when, or what. So I'll try not to be so technical. Let's make it as interesting and as informative as possible so that people can benefit from it. So yeah, that's really me.
Okay. So my question will be, so how did you get started in this particular niche market, and how did you get started at all in creating it?
Okay. So personally, I've always been that person that wants to find solutions to people's businesses. I'm that friend that's you will call and say, did you have this idea? Or I'm thinking about this. And I would be so excited about it. You both will be wondering, is it my idea or your idea? So I realized that it was something I enjoyed to do genuinely. And even roles I had, like working 9 to 5 roles, it was either I was in a new department that was being set up, which I had to set up from scratch, or I was in a business that was new. Because I remember service year was the new business I built. Fantastic. My service year was building a new business right from scratch. They were paying me every month as a copper, but that was what I was doing. So It was amazing for me to see that, look, this is what I enjoy to do. So why not make this thing a business? Because I had done it for myself successfully, and I had seen that a lot of people needed this thing. A lot of the reason why a lot of businesses were struggling or were not doing as well as they needed to do was because they didn't have that external person or, factor or somebody who did not have emotional ties to the business, but could see things
Boom.
from a very different perspective and be able to give objective advice and tell you, okay, you know what, this is not just what you need to do, but this is how you need to do it. So for me, I would say one of those things was, a lot of people can tell you what to do. Google can tell you what to do. A book can tell you what to do. But where it now becomes differentiating for us is that we're going to tell you how to do it. Because if you have 10 different fashion businesses, for example, they're all in fashion, fantastic. But the way they're going to execute is going to be different. That's where the how now comes in. Everybody can know that, yes, you start a business, you have to have price, you have to have markets. But then what next? How do you go about it? So yeah, that has really been the driving force for me. And then seeing people succeed. I mean, their success is our happiness. Our own business cannot be successful if our clients are not successful. So it's a business where you must ensure that, your clients are able to with what they have set as goals and objectives. And then we're able to guide them to ensuring that they achieve what they want to achieve as people and as businesses.
That's it. Like creating impact, making impact happen, providing that value, along the line. Because like you rightly said, your business is based off on the fact that your customers are actually happy, your clients are happy. Else the referral will start coming in and things like word of mouth marketing. So that's very, very, I like that. Thank you for mentioned that. Now let's go to the meat of the matter in terms of ideation, as the word is. A lot of people have ideas, fantastic ideas. Ideas are pretty much, it's, to me, it reaffirms the fact that you're a thinking person. You're seeing opportunities where certain things lie. So how do people take ideas from being just mere ideas to actually one that can create wealth, the one that can actually create impact, one that would actually add value to the lives of people, which obviously creates wealth and gives you money and profit and all that down the line.
Okay, so ideas are fantastic. We all have good ideas. We all have ideas. It's good. We go around the road every day. We come up with ideas. But I would say that the first thing you need to ask yourself when you have an idea is, what do I really want to do with this idea? Because not all ideas are supposed to be businesses. I'll tell you that one for free. Because you have a good idea does not mean that that idea is supposed to be a new business. So getting excited about a new idea is good. But when you have a new idea, I always say, okay, what next? How do you validate that idea? So there's a process of validating an idea if you really want it to become a business. So you want to make sure you conduct some form of research, see what else is going on out there. Because sometimes you wake up and you're like, oh, these things exist, I have to do it. I'm the only one that's thinking about it. And then you go online and then you see that, hey, well, there are a couple of other people doing it. And, how am I going to navigate that market? So are you that person that's going to be able to say, you know what, I have this idea, I want to take it through to a business. Come what may. Now, come what may is the gap between the idea and the execution, because that excitement starts to water down a bit when you start to see that there are other people in this business, the amount of money to start this business is not particularly encouraging. I'm not able to access loans and all of that. So yes, you must validate the idea. Is it a good idea? You have to ask yourself, that's based on the market. Is there a market for it? If there's a market for it, do the market even know that there's a market for it? So for example, if you're thinking of ideas like the kind of Elon Musk kind of ideas, is it kind of like those are ideas that people don't even know that they need. So that's a different kind of new idea. But if you're a business that you're coming up with an idea that already exists, you want to ask yourself questions like, okay, if I'm coming into the market, how am I coming in to differentiate myself? What is going to make me stand out from the other companies or brands that are already existing? Then you want to understand that, look, it's going to be a journey. Success is not overnight, which is another thing I think I need to say. There's a lot of patience that is required as a business owner. you must understand that the people that you're looking at as competitors, they have maybe been in the market for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So why do you think all of a sudden that you're going to come into the market and then in 2 days or in 2 months, you're going to overtake them? It does not work like that. So yes, you are, you might be able to surpass them in a year or two because you have enough data. You've understood the market. You're taking up what they have learned and you're putting it into your business. However, you must understand that you must have a good dose of patience. You must be able to understand that, look, you must test this idea. Is this idea going to work? Is this the right market for it? Are these the right prices? When do I introduce this to the market? How do I introduce it to the market? So there are a lot of questions you need to ask yourself in terms of idea validation, just so that you don't just take an idea and then go into the market and it doesn't work out. Because what happens sometimes is that when you don't validate your idea the right way, and then you go into the market, it might not just give you the results that you want. And then all of a sudden you've killed it, you're discouraged. Give it 2-3 months, somebody else comes out with the same idea, and then they're able to meet up to the market's expectations. So yes, you must validate the ideas that you have before you're able to go into the market and be profitable as a business.
Fantastic. So in terms of, I'm going to take the next question from what you just said, in terms of validating an idea, right, which is obviously the start phase.
Yeah.
How can people do that? I think that's where people find most difficult. Once okay, yes, I'm ready to start. Now, how do I validate this idea to be something that's going to be sustainable?
Okay. So idea validation for us, what we like to always do is, first of all, start with market research. Now, in Nigeria, data is not easily accessible. So what that means is that you have to go looking for the data. It's not really the kind of place where you can just log into some website and all the data just starts to come out. Yes, you can find a little bit, but you're going to have to do some kind of field work. You're going to have to ask a lot of questions. You want to understand numbers. You want to understand the market. You want to start, building questionnaires and surveys and talking to people who you believe are your market. So why I said why you believe is that a lot of times when you start a business, you have an idea who you think your market is, but that's not really who your market is going to be. So that's why you have to test. You have to keep on testing. You have to test different variations of your product. So let's use what do we use as an example now? Maybe we can use my pen. Say you want to launch this pen into the market, and then you see that, okay, I feel that this pen might be for students. That's your mindset when you start. And then you put together a research, you put together some students, you give them the pen, you ask them to write with it, how do they feel? And maybe some of them feel like, oh no, I think it's too bright, or I think it's too small. Now, what is happening already is that your market is shifting. So maybe the people that you felt were going to be your initial market are not even the people that are going to be interested in your product. Perhaps you put together a bunch of CEOs and say, hey, we want to release this product into the market and we want to know what you think about it. And then they say, oh, you know what, I like it. It's sleek, it's small, makes me feel a certain way. Now, what is happening here is that things are changing. You're understanding what exactly your market wants, because you need to understand as a business owner that you are not your own customer. You need to understand what your customer wants, what your market demands. You don't build a product for yourself to use alone. You build a product for the market. You're excited about it does not mean that they're excited about it. They are buying from you because they need it to solve a problem. You are bringing out a product because you think they're going to like it. They're going to buy it from you and it's going to make you profitable. So you need to understand that there are two sides to a coin. Everybody is in this transaction for what they want to get out of it. You want to get what? You want to get recognition. You want to get profit. You want to be somebody who is putting in something in the market that is able to sell. But they're looking for something that's going to solve a problem. And they're going to pay for it, remember. It's their hard-earned coin. So you must ensure that it's balanced. So in ideation stage, you're doing a lot of research. You're understanding, okay, now the market wants this product. The next thing I want to ask myself is how much are they ready to pay for it? Now, say perhaps it's a pioneer, it's a brand that is not known and people are like, oh, maybe normal pens go for 100 naira and I want to sell this one for 500 naira. What that means is that I'm already selling to a different kind of market. Because for me to sell this for 500 naira, I'm thinking about who is going to be able to afford this. So I'm breaking down my product based on income levels. How much are the people that I'm targeting? How much should they be earning? Where do they live? What are their habits? Where do they eat? What do they wear? So everything sort of starts to fall in place. If you're selling this for 1,000 naira and they sell biros or pens for 1,500 naira, what it means is that you're selling to middle level, upper level class. People who would understand that, okay, buying a pen of 1,000 naira fits within their budget. Not because they can afford it. Those people under cannot afford it, but also fits within their budget. So there are a lot of questions, ideation stage, you're asking a lot of questions. You ask the right questions, you get the right answers. And as you're writing this, asking these questions, putting together these answers, that's what you're forming, what we call a business plan. Because you're going to build a business plan from a market research or a feasibility study that you have done. A lot of people run away from business plans these days. They feel like, oh, I don't need it. I'm just going to launch into the market. But hey, it's good. You can start out as a hobby. But you see, when you want to start to behave like a real business, you need to do what the real businesses do. There's a reason why when you go to the bank, they ask you to give them a business plan. It's not because they don't believe what you're saying. You need to go and sit down and do your research and put together numbers and ask yourself questions. You know, there's when you're writing business plan, you will not be able to completely say, I'm on this business, am I sure? So that's what it does to you. You start to ask yourself a lot of penitent questions. Am I sure this thing is going to work? So you start to say, okay, if this thing is going to work this way, do I need to have a contingency plan? Is there going to be a plan B, plan C? What's going to happen? For example, the pandemic happened and most people don't plan for pandemics or things like that when they're building businesses. They just start the business. So what happened last year was a lot of people now had to pause, go back and review their businesses and say, hey, come on, this thing can happen. There can be a worst case scenario. If a worst case scenario happens, how do I navigate? What's going to happen to my business? So what I'm saying here now is ideation stage, you're going to make sure you have a feasibility report, market research, have a business plan, and then make sure you have your financial projections. Financial projections don't mean what you have in your bank account right now. It means, okay, what is a budget? A budget doesn't mean what you have in your bank account. That's what a lot of people normally mistake. It does not mean that. It means what is it going to take to kickstart this business? What is required? In the next year, in the next 3 to 5 years, how much is this business going to make? So those are things that you need to do at the beginning of the business to ensure that you're actually running a business and you're not just funding an expensive hobby.
Fantastic. You mentioned something at the start of breaking it down, talking about validation of an idea and so on and so forth. You mentioned market research, which is very, very critical, very, very important, cannot be understated. And the fact that we as Nigerians, we do not have data, never do we keep data, to be honest. And so how do people that are looking to start a business, they have the idea, they're looking to now start the validation of such idea that you've mentioned market research. So how can they dive into that? What are the steps? I know you mentioned surveys, I know you mentioned what can they actually do? Like if you can give them step-by-step, pretty much view on what they should expect or what they should do, you know, in order to validate that idea. I think that would be fantastic.
Okay, so in order to validate your idea, I mean, we have spoken quite a bit about it, but step by step now, one of the first things you want to do is, I would say, start with a questionnaire. Ask questions. Questions are amazing. We just don't know how amazing questions are. When you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. Don't assume for your market because you don't know. You don't know what they're thinking. You really don't know what they want. You think you know, but you have no clue whatsoever. So first step is draft a list of questions. Ask questions, you know, what do you think you would want to buy a new pen? When you want to buy a new pen, what are you looking for in a new pen? Do you choose your pen based on pricing, based on style? If your pen is black, you know, ask questions. They might sound dumb, but write them. I'd always have a minimum of 10 questions, maximum of 15 questions, because nobody wants to answer too many questions. Make sure that they are objective questions people can easily pick. What that does for you is that in terms of data collation, when you have your maybe 15 questions and they're all, you know, multiple choice, say you use like a Google form or a SurveyMonkey, something like that, you would see data. You see real life data. It will show you, 75% of people prefer blue pens, while, you know, 10% of them feel like they buy their pens based on pricing. Now that helps you with decision making. So when you're able to build a questionnaire and, you know, you summarize your questionnaire, you have a report. Now that report will guide you going forward and say, okay, you know what do I do from here? Then you start to take them one after the other. That's how you build on a market research. You start to start one after the other. You start to, would I say, slice them or break them down even further and start to see, okay, the intricacies of the market. Another thing we also like to do is field, you know, move on the road, ask real people questions, not just the people you find on the internet. So you want to go to real people, real places that these businesses are existing, and start to, as if, for example, you want to start a farm.
Sorry, I'm just going to interject real quick. NK, I'm going to interject real quick. I think also, if I hear what you're saying, it also depends on the type of business, type of idea you're looking to come up with, right? because some
Mm-hmm.
ideas would need you to speak to people via the internet using the questionnaire, the survey forms, and all that.
Exactly.
And some would actually actively need you to be on the field asking certain questions, especially if they are
Yeah.
day-to-day
While
products that
some will
need
need
you
both.
to be a certain type of audience.
Mm-hmm.
And some you need both. Yes, yes, yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. So it really depends on most times most businesses require both. That's the truth. Sometimes you can get away with just, the online version, but the truth is that we're all different people online and offline. I must tell you that. And you'll find that out during market research phase. People can see anything they want to see online, but most of the time you get the real heat when you talk to them offline. But when you're
And the
talking
field,
offline, you have to be very specific about the kind of people you're talking to offline. So let's say you
true.
want to start a farm, for example, and you run an online survey, and then you give people who maybe currently invest in some agri-tech farms, and they are looking at it from a middle level, upper level perspective. They are more bougie, they are more exposed. They're going to give you answers from there. But then if you go offline, right, and you go to actual farms, and you're dealing with the farm managers, the planters, the harvesters, the security, you're going to see things from a different perspective. Because the people who are investing
Absolutely.
in farms online don't know what is going on the field. So if you make your decisions
True.
based on only what you're able to find online, what it means is that you don't have a holistic report. You're going to now go into the
Mm,
business and start to ask yourself questions like, but they said, but they said. But what it means is that you did not actually carry that phase out properly. So, in that phase of research, there are different levels of people you want to talk to. You want to talk to the managerial level, who are the CEOs, the business owners, right? You want to talk to the consumers of the product, and then you want to talk to the actual people who are day-to-day workers in that business. What it means is that, because if you're going to a business, you're going to deal with different people on different levels. You're at the top.
true.
Remember, at the top, you see things from a top view. You're going to be looking down. So you're going to deal with customers, consumers. You're going to deal with the
Yeah.
board of directors, or your fellow managers and all of that.
Yeah.
You're going to deal with employees who do the day-to-day execution. And remember that without any of these people, there's no business. So none is more important than the other. Because even though you have an
Absolutely.
amazing board, you have, take money, if you don't have people to execute that business, what are you going to do? Every day you're going to keep on recruiting, turnover is going to be high. You're teaching them the same thing every day. So what time do you now have to scale as a business if you spend all your
Mm,
time hiring people, training them,
mm.
and then they leave you? So you see, this
So
phase is so
the foundation is
important.
very
It's so
important.
important that
Yeah.
it's not something that should be neglected. It's too
Yeah.
important. If you don't have the right foundation, your house will sink. So I wonder why
True.
we tend to neglect the foundation of businesses. And then when you've now built the house and then the house is now leaking, you are now calling everybody, oh, please, oh, help me, my roof is leaking. Well, but the thing is that the roof is leaking. Sometimes you still have to go back to the beginning and see what's really going on. There are some cases where they have to knock down houses because just it's sinking. So if you are opportune to want to start a business, I would say try and start the right way. It might cost you money,
Absolutely.
I would say that.
Yeah.
But you want to ask yourself questions that, would I rather spend money now or lose it later? It's exciting to
Mm,
start a business, you're making money, you're making money, you're making money. Sometimes you should just hook. What do you do? What happens? Things are
mm.
not just working as you think they should. You're not following due process, you're not documenting things, you have no data, you're not paying attention to anything, and then you're
Structure.
excited because maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're popular on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, people are buying from you, you're an Instagram celebrity, Snapchat celebrity. Okay, what about when the fame goes? What happens next? Does the business go to?
Oh
So you
my.
see, business is, it should be beyond just the person. It should be beyond
Mm-hmm.
just who is doing the business. It's a long-term thing. You should look at it as, okay, how am I impacting the society? What am I doing? It's not just about
Right.
you. If it's just about you,
Yes.
it's all well and good. When maybe you just want to cash out for a period of time and
I was
then you
about to say
just
that some
which
people
is
just
still
want to
okay.
cash
But
out
like I said, you
and
must
tap
you
and
must
go.
be clear. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Just make sure you're clear on your goals from the beginning. What do I want to do? I'm popular now. Let
Mm-hmm.
me do this business, make money for the next year, and I'm off. That's still
Mm-hmm.
okay. But if you want to have a business that's going to stand the test of time,
Sustainable.
outlive you in your generations to come, you start to think
Mm-hmm.
about things differently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And you mentioned something that some businesses obviously do not start off right. So in such a case, right, what would you advise? Because I know some people that are actually on this session, actually they have businesses of their own, So what would you advise they do? Do they have to go back to the foundation like you said, or can they meet, at a certain level to patch things up? Hopefully it stays together, you know.
Okay, so let me give you an example. When you go to the doctor, the first thing the doctor does is he runs tests, right? Because nobody's going to assume what is wrong with you.
True.
Fact. And that is something that we always try to do. We do something called business diagnostics. We must know what's wrong with it. If you, for example, if you come in and say, "Oh, I'm not making sales, my staff keep leaving," I'll listen to you. That's amazing information. But we need to know why that is happening. If you don't know why it's happening, then we can't fix it. So I would say
True.
if you're experiencing certain problems, I'll also be honest with you, it's almost impossible for you to see what is wrong with you. So you see, doctors don't treat themselves most of the time. They go to somebody else to treat them. Reason being that it's difficult for you to see your own problem. See, no matter how hard you try, right? We don't always tell ourselves the truth. And it's difficult because there's emotions involved. You've invested money. You're looking at your money. How can you be telling yourself that the money I put in this business is not working? This business, it's not easy. So most of the time, you need an external person who is going to be honest with you and say, look, let's take a look at things, right? Let's review your processes. Maybe let's ask your staff questions. Let's look at your books. Let's see where did things start going bad? What happened? What was going good? And then what suddenly happened? Did you increase your pricing? Did you change your packaging? Did you reduce the quantity? Did a new competitor come into the market? Different things can happen, but we must figure out what happened, how your market, took that. Now, I'll quickly give you an illustration here. Sometimes it's not always because your product is bad or your pricing is bad. Sometimes it might be a case of your market outgrowing you, but you've never realized it. So I'll give you an example of like in Mr. Biggs. When we were younger, Mr. Biggs was the place to go. We all enjoyed meat pie and donuts. But it's not as if maybe their products also changed, but at the same time, their market outgrew them. So there are different things to running a business. You must constantly keep on growing with your market, depending on what you're doing. There are some businesses that don't need to grow with your market, remain on that level. Think about their bookie down the road. He doesn't need to change his shed or whatever. If you like, move out of that environment. Another person will move in and patronize him. His business is running.
Yeah.
Same thing with your neighborhood supermarkets and all of that. But if you're trying to build maybe a fashion brand or a hair brand, and you feel like your market is middle upper class, and maybe at the time they are students and then they are NYSC coppers. If, for example, you're not improving your product, improving your packaging, styling your ambience, your language and all that, people will leave you and go to the next because they're like, oh no, I used to use them, 10 years ago. 10 years ago when I was broke. Now I have money. Let me upgrade. So there are different aspects that need to be looked at. Business is not just it's not just wishy-washy. It's not something you just wish and do. I would always say something you need to pay attention to. So many things. You have to pay attention to everything around you. As the business owner, especially, you must be very attentive. A lot of times, business owners find themselves doing more operational duties than actual CEO duties because they haven't built a proper organogram. There are people on board don't know what they're supposed to do. So some people have 20, 30 staff, but those people don't really do anything. They are just all running around in circles, constantly calling their boss. Oh, hello, ma. Oh, hello, sir. Can you confirm the alert? Oh, hello, ma. Hello, sir. This person said this because you don't have laid down process. You have a system. So you're just you just run around. And tomorrow you see that, oh, you're overwhelmed and underpaid, and it seems as if nothing is working. But that's because you haven't taken time out in your business to make sure that you can straighten things out to a large extent. Nobody's saying that you're 100%. But don't be at 20% forever. Move to 30 to 40 to get to a place where your business can stabilize, that you can travel on holiday, that you can go for networking conferences and trainings and meet people.
And everything
because
is going
that's
on
really
well.
what you should be doing as a CEO. Exactly. That's what you should be doing as a business owner. That's your work. Your work is to do what? Build that brand, network, connect with people. That's your real work. Because if you're in the office every day, just, running around, signing check, this and that, then how exactly do you expect your business to grow? You should be thinking on a strategic level, up there. How do you think it's possible for Mark Zuckerberg and co to go for conferences? You see Tony Emilio every time going for one event. How do you think and their businesses are still working? Imagine if they were on the podium and somebody's calling them, hello, sir, please confirm the alert. Come on now. Let's all be guided. So really, I believe that if we want to do something, no matter how small it is, I would say business is business. Even if it's in your house, you're running that business and it's a small business. Small businesses become big business. No big business was a big business overnight. That's why you see, they started in a garage and now they are here. Yes, that was them being a small business. So as a small business, what you do small that you replicate. That's why they say penny wise, pound foolish. What you replicate what you do when you're small, you're going to do it, magnify it when you're big. So make your mistakes now that you're small, correct the errors so that as you grow, you're able to implement these changes that you have made.
I think you just pretty much dropped brilliant nuggets and you hit the nail on the head, especially for businesses that are either looking to start or existing businesses. You have to create structures, really. Your business should be able to survive
Yeah,
while you are
you
not
do.
present, while you are not there. Honestly. And I'm
Yeah.
a business owner, and I know that it can be a bit difficult, and you've mentioned the emotional part of things, being that you've invested your time, you invested money and all that. You want to ensure that everything is going on well. You feel like if you don't sit down with the necks of
Mm-hmm.
your staff members, it is not going on well. At the end of the day, you're just going to shortchange yourself because you'll be super exhausted and you're not thinking of
True.
strategies to actually move the business
Mm-hmm.
forward. That's it. So I really, really like the fact that you
Exactly.
mentioned that. I want you to hammer on, why do Nigerian businesses fail? Especially small businesses that don't even fail. Why do they fail?
When you say Nigerian businesses fail nationwide, so you don't say it's Nigerian businesses that fail.
No, I
But
know, but
yes,
I
okay.
want us to
Why do
hammer on
Nigerian
this one. This
businesses
is our
fail?
country. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do Nigerian businesses fail? Nigerian businesses fail because of different reasons, and some of them are environmental factors that are beyond our control. So imagine Nigeria was a country where we had 24 hours lights, we had a credit system that worked, we had access to loans, access to mortgage, healthcare that worked, and all of that. Education, trust me, business would have been a different ballgame. But here, we have to do everything ourselves. We need to pay for things 100%. It's difficult. So you want to start a business, you're going to rent an office space and pay full. You're going to get phones for your staff, you're going to pay full. You're going to buy computers for them, you're going to pay full. So you're going to run generator, maybe buy inverter. Your cost of operating, running that business is going to be very, very high. So
Like,
those are some of the reasons why it is difficult. So I'll be honest with you. Some of the major reasons why it is difficult to build a sustainable business in Nigeria is because we don't have an environment, government policies that are friendly towards small businesses. To go and get a loan from a bank as a small business, now things are getting maybe a little bit more, a little bit easier. But even at that, to even access these loans, you'll be surprised the kind of things they're asking you to get for them. The interest rates are crazy. You find yourself paying for things and you're like, come, can I call you like this? So one of the reasons I would really say to you is that the we live in, the environment we live in, yes, the access to things, but Nigeria is a peculiar state. I usually say something that other countries are X, while Nigeria is Y, variable Y. Nigeria is Y, like it's not the same. So even when you want to come into Nigeria as a business and you contact me and you talk to me, I say to you that, look, whatever strategy you've been using in America or in Canada or wherever you are, is not the same way you operate here. You can't come here with the same mentality. You will not be able to break even. So Nigeria, that's why I saw something on Twitter last week. I think they said McDonald's and KFC are coming to Nigeria. Somebody tweeted and said, look, they will still sell moi last. They will still sell
period.
akara because the
Period.
Nigerian market is so different. It's so different. And you go to ice cream factories and you see they are selling agbalumo ice cream. See, you must understand that Nigeria is a very different
We are the
environment.
Y variable.
So yes, and I would say that we are the Y variable. And I also say that, our upbringing in Nigeria, right, is very different in the sense where most of us were trained to, go to school, do your NYSC, get a job, get married, have children, enjoy your life till you go. Now, that kind of mindset doesn't really make room for entrepreneurship. It doesn't make room, it instills a sense of fear in the mind of people. It makes you feel like, if I don't have that job that's paying me X amount of money every month, that's the end, I'm done for. So upbringing also plays a major role because our parents were raised in a time of, my parents experienced war and all that, and it was from a place of, look, a bed in hand is better. At least 50K, 100K every month you can project and know that, okay, every year I'm getting this amount of money. Because, to be an entrepreneur, you have to be somebody that has faith. You have to have belief. You have to understand that, business, you have to have some kind of hope. It's not something that you do when you don't have, your risk appetite you don't have a risk appetite, a huge risk appetite. So some of these things are the things that, yes, our generation is trying to change by, training children and making them, okay, what are your talents you enjoy doing? It's not a case of you must study medicine or engineering or accounting. So upbringing and mindset for us as Nigeria is a place where we're very cultural. There's a high moral value. Our cultures are deep. So when you want to start looking at Nigeria, you don't look at it just based on where we are. You look at it at how people have been raised. What makes a person is really those ideals, those values that have been instilled in them. So when you start to, so even for, I would say for me, when I'm talking to somebody as a business owner, I want to run tests. I want you to take evaluation tests. I want to know how you think. I want to know the kind of things you think. What kind of decisions do you make? It influences everything. If you're the kind of person that feels like I can only hire people from a particular, state or whatever, it's going to reflect in your. I mean, we meet people every day that say, "Oh, I want to hire, but I don't want somebody from this tribe," or "No, I don't want a man, or I want a woman." It's okay. Your opinions are valid, but it's telling me much more about who you are because there's a perception you have about certain people. There's a way you think. There's something about you. There's certain things that you might not even know that you haven't addressed. So I'll just say that our environment plays a major role, and who we are, how we are trained, how we're raised. Like most Nigerians have a lot of fear in them. There's a fear of we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And it's valid, it's okay. I mean, we were here during the pandemic, we didn't even know what was going to happen. Other countries were getting, relief allowance and all that. But our own rice, they were putting it inside the store. They didn't even give us. So you see, Nigeria is a very peculiar place. So it's a place you really have to have faith. You have to believe.
Even
So
the
I was
faith
still
self.
talking about this some days
It's
ago.
like double
You have to have a double. So when you say Nigeria is a religious country, it's not because we don't believe, we just have no government or anything. I think it comes from a place of, in this country, you really just have to put yourself in the hands of God. That's how Nigerians have seen it, because nobody sends you here. So in Nigeria, you're praying for things like lights, you're praying for good roads, you're praying for health, you're praying, but when you go abroad, right, there are good roads, there's light, right? You can walk into the hospital and they will treat you. So, but those things don't happen here. So it's a very different ball game for us here. So to be a Nigerian and to run a successful business here, I congratulate you if that's what you're doing, because you're doing well. You're doing a good job. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's worth it in the end. It's not easy. So I don't blame people that say at some point, you know what, I'm done, I'm not doing it again. They close their shop and they go and get the job. It's okay. But the thing is that if you're ready to go on the journey, just make up your mind that, look, come what may, right? I'm going to try. I'm going to keep pushing. Yes, the access to some loans now. I mean, CBN is giving some more loans. You have people like Bank of Industry giving loans. You have, foundations and all. So, but remember, before you can access all these loans, you must put yourself together as a business. Yes. I'll say it again. Because you are popular on social media doesn't mean they will give you loan. No. I mean, I've met people who come and say, "Oh, but I have a lot of followers." Okay, but you can't take it to the bank. Nobody's going to give you money. So you must make sure, oh yeah, people will, but I'm very popular. Yeah, they will sponsor your event, but they will not give you money. Because nobody gives money to people. They want their money back now. They are not going to just give you money just because. People might like you and give you money. That's okay. People might like you and believe in you and give you money, which is fine. But if you really want to build a proper business and have access to finance and all of that, then you must make sure you have the right things in place. That's one of the ways you can navigate through this country. And now with payment systems that allow you to collect money from all over the world, it makes things even more interesting. So you can run your business successfully from Nigeria and have people all over the world pay for your goods and services, and business and life goes on. So I mean, I would say that things seem to be getting better to run a business in Nigeria.
Fantastic. All right, so it takes the next range of questions will take us to your experiences, right, as a business owner, as obviously as a business viewer. So what has been the most profound lesson you've ever learned, in helping a business? If you want to tell the story, it's fine.
Okay, so I would say that some of the lessons I've learned that I would like to share it still goes back to a lot of businesses starting out without having any data, any research, any idea whatsoever. And then they just jump right into it, right? And then they find out that what they thought they were doing or what they thought they wanted to just isn't adding up. Because there's no clear direction. You see, business is about understanding. One of the books I love, and I think I would recommend people to read, is Start With Why. I think ever since I read that book as a person, it changed the whole dynamics for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of time people will say start with maybe how much you have or what you want to do. But when you ask yourself that very question, why? A lot of people don't even know why. Ask yourself why. Why do you want to do this thing? Why? What's the goal? And let's not make it monetary. What exactly? Why? What's the why? you start to ask yourself those kind of questions. You start to see things from a different perspective. So I'll say one, not starting the right way. I'll say two, not having a budget. So a lot of people don't create a budget for their business. They just create a business based on wishes. It's hope again.
Right.
But even if, like I said, you don't do it based on what you have in your bank account, but it should be based on, what is required for this business to really move from where it is now to where I want it to be. So creating a budget. And then I would say in terms of hiring people hire very emotionally, and it's a problem. You can't hire people based on how you feel. You hire people based on what your company requires per time and the value they are going to bring to the team. And you hire people whose personal values are in alignment with your core values as an organization. See, you must be clear on that. If their personal values don't align with your business, then you're not going to be able to do. So if you're a business that is thriving based on excellent discipline, hard work, and that person is more of, I beg, I'll do my work, but I resume by 8, and once it's 4:45 p.m., I move. You see, there's a mindset. You start to bring in it. I'm not saying that it should be there by 7 p.m., but what we're saying here is the kind of what they consider as values. Is your company one that is high on integrity? And the person believes that it's okay to collect tips once in a while. So you must be able to find the right people. And how do you find the right people? You have to do the process of building what you want. So before we recruit for people a lot of time. Before you go into recruitment, you have to know what you're looking for. And then you're judging that interview or that person or that, conversation based on the outcomes, not based on, a sad story. Because a lot of people hire based on, I had this problem, I had that problem. Then they come into the organization and they're unable to function. I'm not saying don't have emotion, but I'm saying you have to be quite logical, right? Because the people that you hire are the ones that are going to drive the vision. So first of all, they must believe in the vision and they must be able to drive it towards, achieving those goals, those objectives that you have set for your business. And constantly evaluate the process, evaluate them, appraise them, reward them. Don't just think that they're working for you and then you're not paying salaries and then you're driving the latest Jeep. What do you think is going to happen? It will steal from you now. Definitely. So let's make sure that in as much as you are the CEO, you're the MD of the company, don't build a business where it's like they're just working for you, but
right. Okay, I've lost you. Okay, I've lost you. Can you hear me? Okay, I've lost you. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Okay, I've lost you. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Okay. Just dropped off the call. Let's hope that she'll join back in. This has been so much fun. This conversation that we're having is super insightful. Super duper duper insightful. Super duper insightful. Okay. Okay. Yes, she's back. So while we are okay, Nkechi is back.
Yeah, sorry, you lost me for a while. So I was talking about having the right people, having a team and driving the vision together and not just being that kind of leader that is not able to build them. Because as a small business, I would use a small business example. Your foundation staff or they're very key. You're setting the tone for the business. They're helping you build these different departments. So don't look at it as they're not doing you a favor.
Mm-hmm.
You're all working together because they say teamwork makes the dream work. And remember that your business takes on the shape and form of you as the owner. So even if you hire people who are very, driven, disciplined, accountable, and you as a business owner, you're not any of these things, they will become like you. So you have to really be what you see. So stop demanding for what you're not ready to give. That person that will tell you the truth as a business owner. You might not like it. Not everybody can tell business owners the truth, but they need to hear it sometimes. You must be able to be disciplined. If you need to be what you want to see. Stop demanding for what you cannot do and make sure that you're able to at least drive that team because you're the one they are looking at. It's lonely at the top. So make sure that when they look up, they want to get there.
That's a very good one. That's a very, very good one. I saw through your profile that you are one of the awardees for the Tony Elumelu Foundation, right?
Yeah.
Initially, okay. So how did that go? How was the process like for that, and how was it really?
Okay, that was in 2015. It was really it was the first step actually. I just applied really. I thought it was even my husband that he was like, see, look at this training meeting because that was the first time I was coming and he was like, are you sure that you not apply for this? And I was even studying. I was like, what these things God said, do they work? Because I just feel it. I believe that you will get it to blah blah blah. I sat down, I filled it, and I mean, I got chosen. I was selected. We had a training process. There were a lot of mentorship stuff online. They gave us the money. It was a good one. It was I met people from all over Africa because there was no COVID that time now, so we could do proper boot camp. It was I think 3-day or 4-day boot camp. We went somewhere and everybody came. It was so amazing. I met people from, Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya, Namibia. It was a very amazing experience. Just even understanding business from different people's perspectives. And, till date, I still keep in touch with some of them. Some of them,
Fantastic.
we still have a group, or I think on Facebook where we still chat. So it was a good one. I would say that. So if you have access to certain platforms, you see certain things online, you can try, right? There's nothing wrong with applying or trying. The worst thing anybody can ever say to you is no. And no doesn't kill people. No only drives you to your next yes. So I would
Yeah.
say if you can, look for financial platforms that are ready that believe in what you're doing and are ready to push you through. Because the mentorship is important, the training and the seed capital. Not everybody.
Okay, since I've lost you, okay, you're back.
I hope I'm still here. Okay.
Yes, you're back now. You're back now. Okay, fantastic,
Okay.
fantastic. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps up taking a business from ideation to execution for this particular thing. And
Okay.
I want to thank Nkechi so much for joining us. But before you go, we have certain
You're
questions to
welcome.
just wrap up this session. It's just like mild questions, just to have a feel of who Nkechi is, as such as being a business builder. So questions like how do you relax, as a person? Because that's something that, can you hear me, Nkechi? Can you hear me? Nkechi, can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. I can hear you. I can see your lips move, but I can't hear you. Okay. So she's gonna join back in while we're looking to wrap up the session for today. Whoa, I've learned so much. So what you guys can do is, if you've learned anything at all, please, please, please drop your learnings, whatever it is you are taking away from this particular session. You can drop it not in this comment session, but if you want to, please comment section, please put it down there. Or when we upload the video, please put it down there as well, so other people can actually learn from what you learned, And so far, so I'm super happy. This has been an amazing time. Okay, so you're back.
Yeah,
Yes. So
sorry.
no, it's okay. So let's wrap up this session with, how do you relax as a person, as someone that builds businesses for other people? How do you relax? Because I'm very sure it's a very tasking, job to do. You're I can't
Very.
imagine. So how do you relax? How do you turn off?
I love spending time with my family. I really love just unwinding with my husband and my son. And then I like to
Wait,
go
is it
to the
because
spa.
Soji is here? Is it because
Eh?
Soji is here? That's why you're
No, no, no,
saying.
no, 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 no. It's not because he's here. It's not because he's here. But like to do that. And then I like to go to the spa, just
Okay,
relax.
cool.
I like to listen to music. I love music and I like to read books. Not every time business books. I like to read a lot of fiction sometimes. Just takes my mind off. Then I like to watch interesting series. That if I want to just take my mind, I don't want to think about, because I think one of my weaknesses is I can just be talking to you and then something else pops into my head for a client. I'm always with a book and a pen and I just write it down. So if I don't want to think, I don't want to think. It's hard though. It's hard. It's very difficult because when you become my clients, you become like you enter my heart. Let me put it that way, right? And then I start to think. So different things because I'm a strategist, different things can happen. You can't say when the idea will come. So I just jot it down. But I listen to music. I like to watch interesting series. Just spend time with friends. I try to make sure that I have that part of my life, because if not, there was a period in my life it was just walk, 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 walk. But no, boundaries are important. Boundaries are very important. You have to be able to set personal boundaries, work boundaries. That's a conversation for a different day. But yes, that's how I wind.
I like the fact that you mentioned that boundaries are important, and also the fact that you watch things. So what I say and what I do is I pretty much watch things that do not make me think.
Yeah.
One very silly show that I ordinarily would never watch. But I don't think anything at all. Like, I'm gonna watch this just because I want to feel dumb right now.
Such an empty
So
show. Something that's nothing can come out of that show. Yeah.
Exactly. I like also the fact that you mentioned that you're reading a book and you're thinking, okay, this applies to my client, this client, let me write it down. It happens a lot. Like, I like the fact that someone else actually resonates with that. So I'm not a weirdo.
It happens. It happens. No, you're not. No. It happens a lot.
So you mentioned music. So what is your favorite? Who is your favorite musician? I know that's kind of hard this day and age, but if you can actually spell, who is your favorite musician? Who is that person's song that?
Well, I think I actually sing. Maybe one of these days I'll record a song. So one of the reasons I like music is I like to sing. Yeah, very strange, right? But I sing. Secondary school days, I used to sing a lot. I even had a music stage name back then. I used to call myself. I actually thought I was going to be a musician in my other life. I won a couple of awards for singing. So singing, music is something I really enjoy. It's difficult for me to choose somebody. Yeah, it's difficult for me to choose somebody as somebody I really like. But the last artist I'd say that I really did like, or I've always liked, is I actually like Alicia Keys a lot. I like her sound. I like her music. I like the way she uses her talent. So I've always liked Alicia Keys for her music. So I like music that, when you listen to the lyrics, there's something that drives you. There's just something there. I like, Nigerian music, that's gospel they do. But when it comes to me to listen to music or enjoy music that suits, I don't know. My playlist is amazing. Because, as somebody that is always thinking about business or writing, you need something to help your mind,
Yeah.
And music is one of those things for me.
Yeah. Okay. I know you read books. So what's the last book that you read?
What am I reading now? I always have one around me. Right now, I think I've been reading my Bible most lately. That's what I've actually been reading. This past week, I've been dwelling on my Bible because I've just been reading the whole crucifixion, resurrection. So that's actually been my book this period. It's Easter, and I've just been studying, I would say, and looking at things from a different perspective. That's what I've really done this past few weeks. I've read my Bible much more. Yeah, so that's what I would say.
Okay. Would you call yourself a religious person or a spiritual person?
Or a what?
Or a spiritual person, a religious person or a spiritual person?
I would say I'm religious. I would say I'm somebody who works with God. Religion has had all shapes and forms, but I'm somebody who puts God first and wants to hear from God and works with God, and that what I have is a gift from God, and this is my own way of fulfilling, God's purpose. It's a ministry I've been called to do.
Yeah.
And that is why I am able to do it with the help of the Holy Spirit. I can't do these things alone now. How do you just sit down and think of a business idea? There's a limit to what your sense can take you. So there's a place of meditation and being able to ask, okay, God, help me, open my mind. Where do I need to see that I cannot see? Because when you understand those things, I'm not preaching to you, but you must understand that there's a level. Most things are spiritual. We just see the manifestation in the physical. So absolutely. I'm able to understand that, yes, from that perspective as well.
That's fantastic. Now, to wrap up this question that I've been asking, if you had an opportunity to create a law, as in Nkechi now, that everybody in the world must follow, what law would that be?
Can create a law.
Yes.
I would say that everybody should be seen as equals, both men and women. Let's see each other as equals, both men, both women, from wherever it is we're coming from. I think my work as a business builder, I've seen all sorts of things. So one of the things that I would really, really, really love to see is a world where there's real equality. and we all
Okay.
see each other as equals, regardless
Okay.
of, where we come from, our gender. Let's see each other as equals. That would be the first law that I would say in place.
I like that. I really, 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 really like that. And that's something that people hardly say when I ask that question. And that makes a lot of sense because really, at the end of the day, we are equal in its eyes. So.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Nkechi. I really, really appreciate your
You're
time
welcome.
because time is something that we
Thank you.
cannot take back. So I really, really like the fact that you spent over an hour chatting with me, sharing your experience, sharing your knowledge. And that brings us to the end of this
You're welcome.
particular session. And please feel free to reach out to Nkechi if you need help building your business, or you have an existing business, you need to build structure around it, or you have an idea you want to flesh out to a proper business. Please feel free to reach out to Nkechi at Nkechi Alade, at Nkechi, normal Nkechi Alade Yoruba. So until next time, stay safe, stay
All
blessed.
right. Thank you so much,
Please.
Candy. Have
Thank
an
you so much,
amazing
Nkechi.
Easter.
Thank you, and you too. Bye. Bye.
All right, then. Okay, bye.
All right, so to wrap up the session, please comment, like I said, comment your learnings, all that you've learned, all that you're looking to put into action starting from today or possibly on Monday. All right, I would love to read them. I would love to, I guess, know where your head is at, while you are listening to Nkechi speak today. And also we have a lineup of other guests who will be joining this thing. And trust me, you do not want to miss it because we're pretty much breaking down every single aspect of building a business in Nigeria and what it actually entails. So you do not want to miss it. We'll most likely be having our next session on YouTube. We had a little bit of technical difficulties with regards to that today, but we'll most likely be moving it to YouTube. But if you want IG, you can comment that, okay,